40 years ago today, on August 27th of 1979, Marshall County Deputy Val Johnson was on patrol near Stephen, Minnesota, when he said a ball of light smashed into his car, breaking the windshield, bending antennas, stopping time for 14 minutes, and more. Well, tonight, the Marshall County Historical Society presented the 40th anniversary of the Marshall County UFO Incident, the most famous UFO sighting in Minnesota. It kicked off with a special song for the occasion by the Jensen Sisters of Thief River Falls, the Marshall County Incident. Then Peter Bauer gave his recollections of that night. He was working as a dispatcher and talking to Deputy Val Johnson on the radio.
I will just tell you what happened 40 years ago. I had just started here in Marshall County as a dispatcher jailer in early that year of '79. And so, my wife and I were good friends with Val and his family. We visited him out in Oslo and with his kids and our kids. So I got to know Val pretty well. And he was a by-the-book officer. I mean, most of the officers that I knew, even in my work at Thief River First, didn't always use what they call the 10 codes. They just said, hey, I'll be out here, or something or another, instead of using the 10 codes. And so Val would come on, every time he'd come on, dispatcher would always say, he'd say 10-8, and I go, we'd go 10-4, and we'd give the time. And Val would then, right there, make sure his watch and his car clock was the same. So he just strictly did it every time it was a habit of his. So later on, it was later in the evening when this incident happened. I was at dispatch, it was nice and quiet, nothing going on. And of course, Val comes on right away. I think his number was 406, if I remember right. And the base is 400. So he comes on 406, 400. Said, go ahead, 406. And he goes 1088 at 5 and what's that? 20. So I said, okay. And I looked. I said, what's 1088? Luckily, we have the form taped to the console there, all those numbers. And look, I go 1088. Officer needs assistance. Oh! So I said 10-4. I says, I'll get somebody out there right away. And I right away called somebody, one of the other officers, Greg Linskowski and Stephen. And so he was going to go down there. And then I got back on the radio. I said, are you okay? What happened? And he goes, he was just, all of a sudden he started to get confused. First he sounded, like his normal by-the-book self, and had it all under control, but I could tell that he was starting to waver. And he goes, I don't know what, something hit me. He said, I don't know what happened. And so I tried to keep, talking to him a little bit, and before the officer got down there and took care of him. But as I talked to him, and I could tell he was getting just more and more shook up. It was starting to hit him. And so I waited after a while, and they brought him in to the office a little later on. I'm still there. And he had patches over his eyes. They take him into the doctor in the hospital because he had what they thought was, the doctor said, looked like welder burns on his eyes. His eyes are really burned. And so we talked a little later and found out what the heck happened, what he saw. And I remember, I went through this whole thing, and then it was just getting weirder and weirder by the moment. And I remember him telling me, well, I come up to 220 on 5, and I looked down and saw a light over the road down there. He says, about a mile or so down. And I turned, I thought it might be at that time he said he thought it might be a plane that had to make an emergency landing. It's a big light. So he turned down, started to go down that way, and all of a sudden, bang. That's all I remember. The light was right on top of him. And that's the last he remembered. And apparently he had been out unconscious for a little while before he called in. And I'm talking, he's telling the story, and I'm just, I'm getting shook up. But this is really strange. And I remember all the things that went on after that. And we had people calling from all over the world about this incident. I mean, it got out on the radio, whatever, on the news, all over. And we had people calling for a good 2 weeks, calling us. One guy called, he was a mathematician, and he says he can say how this all happened mathematically. Okay. Yes. And we had all kinds of strange calls. We had people calling and saying they had seen something out there, And I mean, this went on weeks. We had calls after calls, and letters were getting in the mail. And I remember too that Ford engineer who worked with they came and he looked at the windshield, and he was really mind-boggling and confused as to what happened, because he says he looked at it and he says, and he did this thing with the patterns and saw what he thought it might be, what if something hit it. But he said whatever it was, and I remember him telling me this. I mean, I was talking to him. He said whatever it was went through and came back out again, like something hit it, or something like an energy went through and came back out again. And so he says, I've never seen anything like this before. And this guy, I think he's been working with Ford for over 40 years or something, whatever he said.
Then actors portrayed the transcribed conversation of folks involved in the incident right after it happened.
August 27, 1979. The car is driving west on County Road 5 in Marshall County, Minnesota. The spot is some 10 minutes west of Stephen and 22 miles northwest of Warren, where the nearest county sheriff's office is located. In the car is Deputy Val Johnson, a happily married father of 3 and on the sheriff's department for 3 years. While still driving west, Val, for the first time, sights a bright light hovering about 6 feet above the ground. At first, he thought it might be a semi with a headlight on. But at second glance, it might be a downed aircraft. And maybe there are survivors. He presses down the accelerator.
The light at first seemed to be motionless, but as he approaches, Johnson noticed that the light is racing toward him. There's no sound, only a blinding glare as the light hurtles toward him, and at the last minute before going unconscious, the sound of breaking glass. When Johnson regained consciousness, he found his car had skidded sideways across the road and stalled. He was hunched over the steering wheel, and his eyes burned like wildfire. He groped for the microphone that would put him in touch with the sheriff's department.
400,
Go ahead, 407.
1088, 220, 51.
What's your condition?
I don't know. Something just hit my car. I don't know how to explain it. Strange.
What's your condition? Are you okay?
Something attacked my car. I heard glass breaking and the lock. I don't know what happened.
I'll get a hold of 406 and send him right away.
Number 406 was Deputy Greg Winkowski, who sped to the scene as soon as he heard of Johnson's predicament. He found Johnson still half slumped over the steering wheel, and he pulled the door open and helped Johnson into a sitting position.
Val, what happened here?
I don't know. What the hell happened? Something attacked my car.
Winkowski noticed a red bump on Johnson's forehead. It seemed to him that Johnson may have been in shock.
What kind of car was it?
It wasn't a car. I don't know what the hell it was.
Do you believe in UFOs? I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNews.TV.